it's your girl Kelsey Janae. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am back with another video, and as I said in my last video, if you guys haven't seen it, I am trying to come back with some consistency because I recently moved. My setting here is different. I'm still trying to figure out lighting and things like that here. So right now I know I'm not in the best of lighting, but my place is like complete shambles right now with unpacking. Everybody knows how that goes when you move and you need to unpack. It's stressful, but I can't find my proper lighting right now, so I'm just making do. But I'm not going to ramble about moving. I am back with another video. As you guys can tell by the title of this video, I have somewhat of like I guess like a story time, and you'll see how it basically goes as I continue with this video. I am going to be talking about losing my hearing and how that has affected me, how I'm dealing with it and things of that nature. But first, I want to start off, and I've never done this before, but I'm going to give myself a plug. I've recently come out with a new journal, and you can purchase it on Amazon. And this is what it looks like here. It's a goal worth fighting for. And it's basically a weekly journal, and it allows for you to, if you ever wanted to jot down, some ideas or thoughts or tasks that you have daily or weekly. And it says it's actually an entrepreneurial journal, but it's really for anybody that needs something like what I just said to jot down, some thoughts, ideas, tasks, things like that of that nature throughout the week, or daily, whichever you want. I always find myself thinking of things like creative things, and throughout the day I get to doing something else and I always forget about it, and I always need to either write something like a note or something in my phone to myself about it, or jot it down. So I wanted to create it not just for myself, but for anybody. And here it has just weekly goal, weekly tasks, it has notes and things like that. And for each day of the week, it has where you can jot down your different tasks and everything. And in the back, it has a blank calendar, basically, where you can keep track of your months and your dates and just things that you need to do throughout the month. But it's pretty neat. I have it in black. I love the color black. If you've never watched my videos or anything, or know anything about me, I love the color black. So I chose black and gold color, but the link will be below. It is on Amazon, so go check that out. But I'm going to go ahead and get started with this video. Okay, so getting started with this video, I spoke about this before, actually, when something was happening to my ear. I can't remember exactly which video it was. I know it was at the end of a video, but I'm going to actually link it to this video. But I kind of elaborated on a little bit, but I didn't go too in depth about it. But on this video, I am going to do that because it is a part of this story time. But I'm going to go ahead and start off by saying that I basically have, and I'm not even going to say it's 50%. I would say maybe 35% of my hearing in my left ear, and probably 85% of hearing in my right ear. So in my left ear, and I'm just going to go ahead and go off with the story of what I was talking about in the previous video, where I was talking about my actual hearing and the procedure that I got done. But I started losing my hearing in 2009, and I remember, and it's like I said, it's in my left ear, but of course some in my right, but that's another part of the story. But I'm talking about my left ear right now. But back in 2009, I remember, like, specifically, it was the week of Michael Jackson's funeral. And it was weird because I remember watching the funeral that day. It was a big deal. Everybody was watching it on TV. And I just remember I grabbed a chair and I sat it, like, it was like a dining room chair. or a kitchen table chair, and I sat in our living room, and I remember watching the big screen TV. I was watching the funeral. I was crying, you know, it was sad, and I think I was talking on the phone. I can't remember who I was talking to, but we were talking about it as it was, you know, as the actual memorial service was going on. And I remember right after that, after the memorial service went off TV, Michael Jackson's memorial service went off TV, I remember sitting on the couch and I was watching something. I can't remember exactly what I was watching, but I was watching TV, and all of a sudden I started like hearing this humming in my left ear. It was like a low hum, and it also sounded like kind of like a breeze, like I don't know if you've like say you're in a car or something, or on a boat, and it's like a speedboat and it's going really fast, and you know the wind is coming at your face, but let's say you turn your head and the wind is now coming into your ear. That's what it sounded like a bunch of, like a gush of wind, a constant gush of wind was blowing in my ear. That's what it sounded like. And at first I was thinking maybe I may have yawned too hard, or you know, popped my ear or something. I don't know what it could have been or what I thought it was, but that's what it seemed like. I may have, like I said, yawned too hard or something like that, and I'm thinking like, that's just gonna go away. But it kind of like, it just kind of kept going. It was constant. It kept going. So after that day, I ended up going to sleep and waking up the next morning, and I realized that the hum and the wind sound was still there, except it was starting to get louder. And throughout like the days and the weeks after that, it started to get louder and louder, and then it progressed to a ringing. Maybe like that next week or the week after that, it progressed to a constant ringing in my ear. So what I ended up doing is I started going to a specialist at a hospital that was nearby. I can't remember which one it was. I want to say it may have been Missouri Baptist. I can't remember, because I lived like close in that area when I lived in St. Louis. But I looked up a specialist in that area, and he was an ear, nose, and throat doctor. And I remember going to him, and I know at the same time I was kind of also suffering like a sinus issue, which I mean a lot of people suffer sinus issues. So I was thinking it could have been that as well, but I went ahead and actually Googled beforehand, because you know how people do. We always like to try to diagnose ourselves by looking up Google. That's probably the worst thing anybody can ever do. Like if you start to get symptoms and you start looking up stuff, it just a lot of the stuff doesn't make any sense, because of course we didn't study these things. You know, we're not professionals in medical care, so you get to reading things and then you start exaggerating, and it just, you can blow everything out of proportion when you're looking up and trying to, you know, self-diagnose yourself. But I did that. I Googled, and I was just trying to figure out what it was. So I ended up going to see an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and I went to see him. He tested my hearing and everything. He said at the time my hearing was fine, but he was like, you pretty much have all the symptoms of tinnitus in your left ear. So I'm like, oh, okay. He was like, it's nothing to panic about. It could, you know, go away. You could have it for the rest of your life. It's one or the other. And he was like, I guess to make me feel better about it, he was like, hey, I have tinnitus in both of my ears. Both of my ears ring. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, that made me feel so much better. But he was like, he did say either it can go away or I can have it for the rest of my life. But at the time, I wasn't, you know, really thinking about it. At the time, it really wasn't bothering me like that. But as the years have gone on, the ringing, just imagine, I've been having ringing in my left ear since 2009. Now that's years. That's a very, very long time. A lot of the time I can actually ignore it, but like right now it's really loud, and it just really depends on if I do a lot in the day. It can like really be loud, and sometimes it can be like so low that I can actually ignore it. And at the time, the doctor was actually saying like it could be, you know, absolutely worse, because there are people that have tinnitus, not just in one ear, but in both ears, and it is so bad that they can't sleep at night. Like they have to use like, what do you call it? It's like a white noise machine or something that will, you know, have a frequency over that humming or ringing so that they can actually sleep at night. So I guess that kind of made me feel a little bit better. But at the same time, I'm thinking like, wow, people go through this and they actually, you know, cannot sleep or concentrate even during the day because they have consistent and constant ringing in their ear. But that's just another thing. But throughout the years, at first I really didn't notice that I was losing the hearing in my ear as well as the ringing. I thought it was just ringing. But when I moved to Atlanta, I ended up getting having an ear, nose, and throat doctor for another reason, as well as my sinuses, because he was helping me with my sinuses and all that stuff. And I was telling him about, you know, the ringing in my ear, and he was like, when's the last time you got your hearing tested? And I'm like, it's been a while. So he's like, I want to, you know, test your hearing, because, you know, I'm an ear, nose, and throat doctor. I want to make sure everything is fine with you. So while I was there, I got my hearing tested, and I would say just the results came back where it was like my hearing was significantly lesser than what it used to be years ago. And it just really didn't dawn on me, because I'm like, it's like I got the ringing in my left ear, but then I really just like started thinking about it. Like when I watch TV, like my TV is, I'm not saying it's like blasting, but it's normally higher than you know, other people would normally have their volume. It's because it's harder for me, you know, to hear the TV. And it's even come to the point where I've had somebody ask me, like, I've had the TV up fairly loud, and they come in and it's like, why is the TV so loud? You can't hear something? I'm like, obviously not. Because, you know, it's ringing in my ear, but it's hard to hear outside noise over the ringing in my ear. But that's one thing. And then I also noticed, like, when I moved here, at work, we're always so, like, when we went into the office, I work from home now, but when we went into the office, you know, before COVID and all that stuff, and I would just be in the zone working, and I always either listen to music or listen to you know, a digital book. And when I'm not listening to music and someone is talking to me, and mind you, let this person be on my left side, I realized it was just like so hard to understand what they're saying. Like, and you know, people, they're going to talk at their normal volume. So it's kind of like embarrassing to ask, like, can you speak up a little bit? I can't hear. And it had even come to a point where I heard, and I know we all hear rumors about ourselves, but I heard an old coworker of mine was telling me, like, other two of my other coworkers were like literally talking about me behind my back, like saying like how I can't hear and I'm hard of hearing. Like that's very rude. If you have a issue with that or something, you can come tell me or ask me, you know, if I have a hearing problem instead of talking about me behind my back. But that's neither here nor there. People talk about you, whatever, I don't care. But still, it's rude. But what I was trying to say is I just started noticing things like that. Like, it's like I had gotten so used to the actual ringing that I didn't notice that it was affecting my hearing, even though I had to turn my TV up loud, or I had to tell somebody to, can you speak up because I can't hear what you're saying. It just really didn't dawn on me. It should have, but it just really didn't dawn on me. But before I went to the ear, nose, and throat doctor here in Atlanta and, you know, got my hearing tested, it just really didn't dawn on me. And it's just like, it really did become scary at that point, like looking at what on the test result, what my hearing should be versus what it is now. But it seemed like even after that, because that was close to when I had first moved here to Atlanta, and I've been here in Atlanta for over 7 years now, almost 8 years. Next year will make 8 years. Next March will make 8 years. So that, like I said, that was like that was before, you know, a couple of years ago when I first started going to the ear, nose, and throat doctor. But recently, and this is maybe a month and a half, almost 2 months ago, I remember I had just came back from Las Vegas, and I'll link that video here as well. But I had just come back from Las Vegas, and I remember I was getting ready to record a video, an Amazon unboxing video. And I had sat down to actually do the video, and then suddenly, like, I felt like a pop in my ear. And I like suddenly couldn't hear, like in my left and my right ear. And it was like to the point where I was talking and I could barely hear myself talk, let alone anybody outside, which I was at home. I wasn't going anywhere, but still, to, you know, if I'm saying something out loud and I couldn't even hear myself, that scared the mess out of me. Like, did I just like suddenly go deaf? Like, what the heck? And it lasted for about a day. And eventually my like the next day, because the next day, and I woke up like, if I got, you know, if I was, I'm starting to think at the point like maybe it's another sinus thing. Maybe I'm just so clogged up. I think I even mentioned that in the video that I recorded, the Amazon unboxing video. But I was thinking at the time maybe it was a sinus thing, and I was just like so clogged up. My throat was draining and everything. That's why I thought and I was thinking maybe something happened on the plane ride coming back from Las Vegas, and my ears pop, or they, you know, did they not pop, or they still, do I need to do some yawning exercises, jaw exercises, what, I don't know. But it scared me. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna calm my nerves and I'm gonna wait till the next day. And even though I did wait till the next day, and I woke up and my hearing in my right ear was eventually coming back, I still made an appointment with my ear, nose, and throat doctor. And so he was like, he didn't want to like say exactly what he thought it was, but he was like, I need to see you immediately. So I'm like, okay. So I went in like the next day. I was able to get an appointment for like that next day. And once I went in, you know, they tested my hearing, and like the hearing in my left ear at that point, because it hadn't come back, the one in the right was coming back, but the one in the left wasn't coming. Like I could snap near my ear and like cover up this ear and snap in this ear, and I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't hear my snap, clap, nothing. I tried to, you know, turn my music up on my phone, put it up to my ear. Nothing. I could hear absolutely nothing in my left ear, and that was freaky. But once I got to the ear, nose, and throat doctor, and of course I got a hearing test done, and the results came back, and I think they said my hearing in my left ear was at about like 19%, something around that range, where, you know, it's supposed to be 100, but it was at about 19%. Like, she did the you know, put the instrument in my ear. She wanted to see if I can hear any of the beeps, any of the hums, any of the words. She put an instrument behind my ear, did the same thing, nothing. I could absolutely hear anything, and I heard all of that just fine in my right ear. But at the time, she did say that the right ear was at about 85%, about 80-85%. So my ear, nose, and throat doctor, he wanted me to get an MRI done, to make sure, you know, there was like no type of tumor or anything in that ear. So I had to schedule. He wanted me to like, he wanted this stuff rushed, so he wanted me to get an MRI. I hate getting MRI. I'm claustrophobic, so I said I tried to see if I could get like a open MRI, but they didn't have any availability as quickly as my doctor wanted it to be. So I ended up getting a CT scan done, and they did that. So like the next day I was able to get a CT scan done, and mind you, by this time this was a Friday, I believe. I got the CT scan, and he wanted me to come back in. My ear, nose, and throat doctor wanted me to come back in on that Monday with the test results and everything. So I went back in on that Monday, and he said everything was fine on the CT scan. But what he think it was, and I have sickle cell, if you don't follow me, I have sickle cell disease. So he said he think it has something to do with my sickle cell, which is actually normal. I've looked that up before. I've looked up a lot of things when it comes to sickle cell. I've looked it up before, and a lot of sickle cell patients, they do lose their hearing as they get older. They lose their eyesight as they get older. You know, have problems in the joints, everything, which I do actually have. I have problems in my shoulder joints, and I've had my hips replaced in 2013. But he said he thinks it may have something to do with my sickle cell, but what he wanted to do, he also thought that it was just and I'm not even gonna say just, because it's not like it's a small problem. It's sudden hearing loss. in my left ear. So he wanted to do a steroid injection. And I'm like, what? You want to do what? He wanted to do a steroid injection in my left ear, behind my eardrum. And when I tell you guys, that like absolutely freaked me out. I am good at hiding my, emotions, physically. But inside I was like, he wants to stick a needle through my eardrum and do what? Why? But okay. But why? But why? So he told me that an injection, a steroid injection, and actually, I'm sorry, I'm skipping a part, because when I first had the doctor's appointment, he gave me a steroid pill to take by mouth, which is like a 5-day thing. So he ended up giving me that. So by the time I ended up going back to him, I was still taking them, but they weren't doing anything. I'm sorry, I forgot. I completely forgot that part, but I'm glad I was able to add it in. The steroid by mouth was not doing anything, so he said he wanted to do a steroid injection into my ear, which he said normally does help with sudden hearing loss. And like 75% of the time, it will bring that hearing completely back. But the thing about that is that you have to get that done almost immediately after you lose your hearing, or there's like that 75% chance will jump to 25% chance. That's why he was trying to rush me in and make sure I get that done, because of that low chance that it wouldn't work. So I went ahead and I actually looked up to see like how bad this may actually be, because thinking of getting a shot into your ear, a shot period hurts, but thinking of getting into a steroid shot in your ear, it gets kind of freaky. So I had to really think about it. So I told him I would think about it while I was sitting there, and I ended up looking up some information on it. I found some videos, and there were some people that said that it was very painful, like the most painful thing they ever done, and it didn't work. But there were other people, and it was the majority of people were saying that it wasn't that bad and it actually really helped them. So I'm like, I'm gonna go with what they said, and I'm gonna go ahead and get this done. Hopefully, I'm so hoping that it works, guys. So hoping. So I told him to go ahead and do it. And so he came back in, he was ready for the procedure. Everything's all sterile. And the first thing he did is he numbed my eardrum with a cotton swab. So he stuck a cotton swab down there with some numbing lidocaine, and that hurt like heck. Like, it just touching my eardrum, it just, first of all, it shocked me. I was like, what the heck? And then I was like, ow, that like really hurt. He was like, I'm sorry, but I had to do that. If I don't numb it, it's gonna be extremely painful. So then after that, I sat for about 5 minutes, and he came back in and he did the actual injection, and the injection did not hurt at all. It was freaky though, because once the actual medicine was going behind the eardrum, first of all, it was really cold, and then it also kind of knocked my my balance off. I felt a little woozy there, and he asked me, like, you feel a little off balance? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, that's just pretty much shows you how important your ears are and your hearing is, to everything, to your balance, to everything. So I'm like, okay, he did that. He's like, all right, I'm done. He stuck a little cotton swab in there to protect it from, the wind and dirt and all that stuff. He said, you're done. So I said, oh, okay. So he said, we're going to give that 5 days and see if it works. And then I want you to come back in and we're going to do another hearing test. So I'm like, okay. So now I got to make it home. I'm feeling a little dizzy. Not like I'm going to fall over dizzy, but it's just like, it just kind of knocks your, I don't know if you call it, was it equilibrium? It kind of knocks you off balance. So I'm like, okay, let me get home. I got home and I made sure I was very still, because I could still feel that liquids like squashing around in there. And I was like, this is the freakiest feeling I've ever felt. This is so weird. And after a while, it did actually have like a little aching to it because of the injection site. But I just, took a Tylenol, and actually that night I ended up talking about it and recording a video, and then I, went to sleep, and the next morning I felt a lot better. Like, it wasn't, I I didn't feel the sloshy feel. I wasn't feeling dizzy, and the pain was gone. So I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. So as the days progressed, I really couldn't tell, but I went back to him after that 5 days, went back to see him, did another hearing test, and they actually said that my hearing went from the low percentage that it was up to like a 37%. So I could hear the beeps, and they had to be like really, really loud for me to hear them, but I could actually hear a few of the beeps. I could not hear the words, but I could hear a few of the beeps. And as you know, he was talking to me about the texting. He was like, look, it looked like it's trying to work, so we're going to give this another 2 weeks, and then I want you to come back. So gave another 2 weeks, came back, and then when I went back, my hearing was probably up to about a 45, almost 50%. I can actually hear the words, but I couldn't make them out. Like they had like different words that they wanted me to repeat in my left ear, and I can actually hear the words now. But like I said, I could make out maybe 1 or 2. They did 10 words, and I can only understand like 2, like 1 or 2. But he said that of course the hearing is getting a little better, even better. So the next step would to be just keep letting it get better gradually, or do the procedure again. So I'm like, I'm not doing that procedure again. Are you crazy? No, it was uncomfortable. It wasn't the most painful, but it was very uncomfortable, and I do not want to do it again. I don't want to do it again. So he's like, okay, we're gonna wait again, and then we're gonna, you know, however many weeks, and we're gonna do a test again. I haven't gone back yet for the, you know, next testing, but I can actually tell that my hearing is even better than when it was the last time I got it tested. Like I can, you know, make noise. I can make a noise here, over here, and I can snap and all that. I can actually hear that now. But I'm telling y'all to basically say this: take care of your ears. Take care of your ears. Take care of everything in your body, because a lot of, you know, our body parts are more important than we think it is. I mean, I've been to concerts before. I don't know where the actual initial tinnitus came from. It could have been from loud music at concerts, loud music listening at work, whatever it is. It's not a good feeling. Like losing, like this is one of your senses. This is one of your senses. It's like losing your taste. Like, what would you do if you lost your taste? Like, hearing is just as important. What if you lost the feeling of feeling, you know, being able to touch somebody and feel it? Like, this is not a good feeling. It really isn't. It really is. And I hope it just continues to, you know, progress. I've been to my insurance company to see about getting a hearing aid. The woman that did the actual hearing test at my ear, nose, and throat doctor, she told me that if it doesn't come back to the point where I can actually understand words in that left ear, there's actually a device where I can, it will be placed in my right ear, and what it will do is it will enhance my hearing on my right side, so it'll basically make up for the hearing on the left, if you get what I'm saying. I might want to try that. I again need to go back to get my hearing tested again, but again, I can still tell that it's a heck of a lot better than it was before. It's not 100%, but it may not ever be 100%. Heck, it wasn't even 100% before all that stuff started happening. But I'm just hoping that it just gradually gets better. I don't have to do any other procedures like getting the steroid shot again. I don't want to go down that route. I would rather do the hearing aid. But again, this was my story of time about losing my hearing, and how it's not a fun feeling. It's not a fun feeling, and I don't wish this on anybody. But I do want to thank you guys so very much for listening to me and watching this video. And I hope that you like, comment, subscribe, and share. And of course, when you subscribe, I hope you hit that notification bell, so when I post new videos, you guys will be notified. Deuces.